Hey, welcome back to my channel. MJ here. What we have here today is a For the Dub matte black Shiokan Star leverless enclosure and a For the Dub edition GP2040 CE fight board. I'm going to be assembling this all in one go. I chose to leave a minor error I made in the video for authenticity purposes, where I snipped the wrong ground from the wrong harness, and also as a reminder that most things can be repaired. So if you follow along, this is not a tutorial, more like a build along. Although if you weren't installing toggle switches, you'd have completely avoided snipping any wires. I will be linking any tools and parts that I used that can be found on Amazon as an affiliate link in the description below. I do get a small kickback from the traffic to those links. As for the Dub GP2040 CE board, I'm not sure if that was a limited run, but as of making of this video, it has been sold out and then later removed from the site. I usually never get that lucky for the limited runs, but for $35 I had to grab it. If you haven't already, I want you to give a big old click to that subscribe button. I've gotten almost 2K views and I want to pump up those subscriber numbers. Thank you. So after you click that subscribe button, go grab yourself a popcorn, because this one's a long one. Plus, the more I do this, the less of a baffling buffoon I'll sound. Just a quick disclaimer. The addition of the toggle switches will only work on the matte version of the For the Dub enclosures, as the clear versions utilize the screw holes that I drilled out in order to install the toggle switches. For the buttons, I'm going to be using a mixture of Sanwa and Seimitsu, the Pro Series, and the new Seimitsu Alutimo for the face buttons. The reason for the big mixture of parts is because I wanted to kind of label individual buttons with different colors, like the start button and the home button. And I'm going to be building this out as a PlayStation 5 compatible board. And I'm going to be installing a few mods to this Jonny Fraze case, which includes some switches. This is going to be for the left stick, right stick selector toggle. For when I want to switch to left, right stick, or direct input. Fortunately enough, the Jonny Fraze version of this board has the toggle selector terminals right here, which can be programmed in the web configurator. I'm also going to be adding this Magic S Ultimate pass-through device for the PlayStation 5. And I'm going to be adding a lockout toggle switch as well on the side. One modification that I had to do to this prior is was grind down a little bit of the edge of that circle. I know it didn't come out perfect, but it's good for now. So that way these buttons can fit. Because it's for the wind, case was meant for screw-on buttons, and I'm going to be using a mixture of screw-on and snap-in. Also, I have here the pass-through that I'm going to be using from a company called Renin, and this is what that looks like. It's going to be going right here. And here's the modifications I did to this side. And on this side, you can see where I ground down to allow for the snap-ins to latch on the internal side. I'm gonna go ahead and install the 24mm buttons on this side already and set this to the side. And the case I picked was a leverless in the shuriken style, and also in all black, matte black. So color scheme I'm going is kind of muted. I want to be installing this gray and black in the middle. This black and gray on the outside. And the same for this one. So you can see that they'll go in. It's not meant for it, but they latch on. It's meant to have screw-on buttons, so that's why I did that. Set this aside. I'm going to be using the Brook Harness. Any of these parts that I'm using that I can find on Amazon will be linked below using affiliate links. So I'm going to start with this. I'm going to be soldering on. Set this aside for now. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be snipping this ground cable terminal that came attached to this Brook fighting harness cable, and I'm going to be stripping it down and attaching it to this toggle. That way it interrupts the ground using these strippers, the wire strippers. These are the Katapult by Klein. And I'm going to be stripping and shortening these down. Using my soldering iron from Milwaukee, I'm going to be soldering on these terminals. I'm going to start by twisting these wires together. I'm going to be sliding on a shrink tube before I twist these wires together. Pull that wire up. Should be enough. And then the opposite end, do the same thing. Twist up the wire. Two. Things up. Now that that's out the way, I'm gonna add the buttons to this. Going with that black and gray sanwa. And for the start button, this red pearl Seimitsu button. And for the home, I'm going to be using this blue Seimitsu button. And because this is on a separate harness, I'm going to just go ahead and wire this one up right now. Well, it turns out I goofed up, so I got to chop this off. This terminal is for the left, right, and touchpad button. No worries, I'll fix that later. But for now, at least this is soldered on. This is what this is going to look like. Gonna set this aside for now. See if that's centered. Right about there. There's that USB-C pass-through. Gonna set this one aside. I'm still gonna drill a hole to accommodate that the toggle select. And this one, I believe, is just blank. Comes at the front. And for all of you ASMR fans, let's see if you can hear that. Here's the button panel. And here's the bottom panel. So I've already gone ahead and added the for the wind cushion at the bottom. I left the shiny part facing down since it's going to be covered by the foam pad anyways. Because this inscribed for the wind was going to get covered by the foam pad, so I just had it facing inwards. The foam pad, when you buy it, it comes with this these little cardboard pieces. At first I was wondering what they're for, but after installing them, it's obvious that it's just for the foam pad not to stick onto the panel, so we can easily remove them. Set this back outside. Continuing this peeling journey. Let's take it off. Outside. Some materials. Some materials. Alright, so now that that struggle's over with, I'm gonna figure out exactly where I want to put this board at. Still haven't decided. And the reason why is because of this Mayflash adapter. I got to find some clearance for this, so place the board over the screws. Run the nut down as far as I can by hand. Same on the opposite corner. Look at that sick JF logo. I'm gonna go ahead and link this in the description, but I'm pretty sure the last time I seen it, they was sold out. So next, here comes the stems. So now we have to install these posts. Alright, so now to install the up down, no sorry, to install the left, right, and down buttons. These new Seimitsu Alutimo buttons. It's a little rough to say. Alutimo. I'm having a little trouble here with these rings. The thread starts pretty high on this bottom side. It's not quite catching on, so installing them in reverse, where the thread's a little bit lower, catches on a little better. See if this one will cooperate the right way. Yep. The coloring on these Seimitsu buttons are a little off. I'm not sure if that's by design or because this is like the first batch. But this gray does not match this gray. By the way, Huge shout out to Arcade Shock. Arcade Shock is local to me. It's about like an hour drive, maybe an hour and a half. But could be the reason why they ship so fast to me. But this whole time I've been ordering parts for this build, I was so undecisive, to the point where I was ordering button colors and I wasn't even sure if I was gonna use those colors. So ordered like almost back to back, day by day, like 4 times. And they happened to fulfill my order extremely fast. I'm not sponsored by them, but definitely would love it. Here's the color differences between the black Seimitsu Alutimo and the gray. That gray one looks a little wonky. It's a little bit darker, you know. That 30mm gray Seimitsu looks a little off. The plunger is a little too dark. But oh well. So I cranked down pretty hard on them. And so far they're all moving pretty freely. So now I'm gonna try to figure out how I wanna route this. Just gotta see if there's enough clearance back here for this, including this. Because I am about to mutilate this once I get the battery installed. So it's dead. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna drill a hole for that pass-through to fit. Gonna try to use this hole. I'm gonna try to clean that up. All right, so now have this wired is, if you have this toggle in the middle, it's going to go into ground, which is going to give you direct input. If you switch it to the right, where the red's at, it's going to give you right stick. And if you go to the left to where the blue's at, it's going to give you left stick. So now I want it to stay in that orientation. So when I face it that way, I don't even have to think about what side is what. I'm gonna add this little faceplate. And I'm not sure if I want to go with the screw nut or with this little, or with this cap that it came with. Since I have a blacked out build. See if I can keep that in the right orientation as I twist this on. Not bad. Alright, so continuing with the build. Set this down. Interlock the back with the front. Bringing in this left side. Interlock that with this back piece. That was a little harder than it looks, man. Jonny Fraze makes that look easy on camera. So before I forget, I'm gonna wire up the USB-C from the PCB board to the pass-through. Can probably find a right angle for this, but I'm not gonna waste my time on that right now. Now on to the wiring. Luckily this PCB board from Jonny Fraze has the exact same wiring as a Brook Harness, because that means that all of these follow the same orientation. So this is for the joystick. This harness over here that I cut up belongs to the L3, R3 and touchpad buttons. I just realized I put these on the wrong side. Oops. All that struggling for nothing. Alright, so using our Brook Hitbox cable, we're going to be connecting the arrow buttons. Brook made this easy just to match these up. I'm going to be cinching this down by using some zip ties real quick. So that way it won't be flapping around everywhere in here. The pliers I'm using are the Boss Lineman pliers by Vampliers tools. So now I'm going to be wiring the negative or the ground terminal on the arrow buttons. So according to my handy dandy JF board, orange is up, green is right, down is right, yellow is left. Now I'm sure it's like, as I was wiring this up, next go on. There's a hand top here. Probably should move this around. I'm going to wiring these terms. Shall I put maybe more houses? I'd say it's a little bit more. So nice. And she probably just knows million wires. That kicks. Oh, on the butt. So earlier in the video, I kind of cut the wrong wire. I chopped off the L3 R3 touchpad button wiring harness by mistake. So let me fix that real quick. Let's go. Ooh, I'm not sure it's warm enough because it's tying. No, there it goes. Now for this one. If you guys don't have a wireless soldering iron, I really suggest getting one. It makes jobs like this easy. One. My shot too. All you have to do is all right, now so I want start to be red. home. It's gray. And select and share. Boom. So now, whenever I flip this off, it should lock out like for tournaments. Although I'm not a avid tournament goer, it's nice to have. I don't know how many times I accidentally push start on Tekken. Damn, so freaky. Oh well, let's start it off wireless. These snap-ons are actually sturdier than these screw-ons right now. Touchpad is green. I want left to be closest to me, which means over here. And right, blue. Now for aesthetic purposes, I'm gonna cover up these holes that we don't have anything in on. These holes were meant for those that ordered the clear acrylic for artwork. I'm not gonna be installing any, so I don't have a need for it. Mine's just gonna be just matte black. So it's gonna cover up those holes. Let's see if I can show you what I mean with everything falling apart. So there is a screw hole right there, and there's that hole. Just trying to cover those up real quick. Microphone. Looks good. Here's the bottom piece. Now I gotta give this these top screws one last little tightening, just to make sure they're snug. Alright, so there we go. There's that USB-C pass-through. You have your selector switch, your start, select, and the home button, and tournament lockout. And on this side you have the left, L3, R3, and touchpad. Alright, so there's the building portion of this. I'm still going to go ahead and give it a test run just to make sure all the buttons are mapped right and to make sure all the soldering and cutting I did was done right. I'll be right back. If you made it this far into the video, I want to thank you for watching. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next video.